Do you ever feel like you're just totally hitting a wall? Just like when
Oh.
you're up against something and you just want to give up,
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
like convinced that it's just not going to work out.
Right, right. It's tough.
I think we've all been there at some
Yes,
point.
totally. We all have those moments.
It's like in those moments, though, that we sort of learn the most about ourselves, don't
I
we?
think so. Yeah, absolutely.
So today we're going to do a deep dive into something that I think speaks to that experience.
Okay.
And it's actually a children's book.
Oh, interesting.
It's called Hope-o-potamus by Greg James and Chris Smith.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, have you read it?
Not recently.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Sounds familiar though.
Yeah, so it's this really charming story,
Yeah.
about a very determined hippopotamus.
Okay.
But I think, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
Oh, I bet.
There's these themes about perseverance and hope
Right.
that resonate with you, whether you're a kid or an adult. I think it.
Absolutely. I think children's books can be so profound sometimes.
Yeah, it's amazing how they can capture those like really fundamental,
Yeah.
aspects of what it means to be human.
Totally.
So Hope-o-potamus, he's this hippo,
Okay.
and his riverbed has dried up because of a drought.
Oh no, that's a problem for a hippo.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the worst case scenario.
Pretty much, yeah.
If you're a hippo,
Yeah, exactly.
but the thing about him is
Yeah.
he refuses to just like give up.
Oh, wow.
Like he's obviously said he's thirsty,
Of course.
but there's this something in him that's just like, I'm not going to let this defeat me.
That's really powerful.
And it's interesting because the story actually started as a poem.
Oh, really?
It was for this book called The Book of Hopes.
I see.
And that was a project meant to comfort children during a tough time.
Oh, wow. So it was like
I think it was during the pandemic, actually.
oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So I feel like that context really adds to this idea of, resilience and hope and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a sense of overcoming.
Totally, yeah. So in this deep dive, we're going to unpack
Okay.
who Hope-o-potamus meets on his journey.
Right.
Like, what are those pivotal moments for him?
Yeah.
We're going to look, what are those core messages?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the book really trying to tell us?
Okay. Yeah.
And then we'll even talk a little bit about the authors who wrote it.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's get started.
Okay.
We're introduced to Hope-o-potamus.
Yeah.
And things are not good.
Yeah, you were saying he's in a pretty bleak situation.
Right, like his home, the riverbed,
Right.
it's totally dry, no water.
Yeah.
He's sad, he's thirsty.
Understandably.
Like a crisis.
It is a crisis for sure.
Yeah.
But there's something about him, though.
Yeah, what's that?
There's this, inner spark, this, refusal to give up.
Oh, interesting. So, like, right from the beginning,
Even from the start.
you can see that.
Totally.
He's not going to just lay down and die.
No, he's not going to just accept it.
But it's not like this comes out of nowhere, right?
Oh, I bet there's a reason.
Yeah, so earlier in the story,
Okay.
we hear about this advice that he got when he was just a little hippo.
Oh.
Yeah, from this wise old giraffe.
Okay, so there's a mentor figure.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's like this piece of wisdom
Right.
that he's holding on
Oh,
to.
yeah, that makes sense.
And this giraffe, he said,
What did he say?
life's going to be tough.
Okay.
There are going to be bad times.
Right.
People are going to try to bring you down.
Uh-huh.
You're going to want to quit.
Yeah,
But that's when you have to, dig deep
I see.
and take those small steps forward
Okay.
and just believe that things will get better.
Wow. That's really good advice, actually.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's what drives him through the whole story.
Yeah. I bet, every time he's struggling,
Totally.
he remembers that.
Yeah. It's like he's drawing on that.
Okay, so what happens next?
So he's on this journey to find water, right? And he goes through all these different places.
Okay.
And in each one, he meets an animal who tries to convince him to give up.
Oh, no. So they're, testing him.
Totally, yeah.
Okay, so where does he go first?
So first he's in the desert.
The desert. Oh, man, that's rough.
Wow, right?
Especially for a hippo.
Totally.
So what happens in the desert?
He's walking along,
Yeah.
and he comes across this camel,
Okay.
and the camel's just chilling on a dune.
He's just hanging out.
Yeah, and he sees this hippo
Yeah.
walking towards, what looks like nothing.
Right.
And he's like, hey, buddy,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any water that way.
He's trying to be helpful.
Yeah, he's trying to warn him,
Right.
and he even offers him water.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, from his hump,
Oh, wow.
which, is pretty tempting,
Yeah, I'd be tempted.
right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're like a thirsty hippo in the desert.
Totally.
But the Hope-o-potamus,
Yeah.
he's super polite about it.
Oh, okay.
But he's like, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to keep going just a bit further.
Wow. So he's determined.
He's got his mindset.
Yeah, you can't deter him.
You can't talk out of it.
Okay, so the camel represents like that voice of doubt,
Yeah,
maybe.
totally. Yeah, it's like that little voice that says, "Are you sure you know what you're doing?"
Yeah, like maybe you should just turn around.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens after the desert?
So then he comes to this really thick jungle.
The jungle? Oh, man.
Yeah, it's like dark and humid and kind of creepy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And he meets this sloth.
Of course he does.
Yeah, who's like hanging upside down.
Classic sloth.
Right, like always.
Just chilling?
Yeah, and the sloth is like, dude,
Yeah,
you look tired.
I bet.
You should just stay here and sleep.
Until morning.
Yeah,
Oh, that does sound nice, actually.
I know, right?
Especially after the desert.
Yeah, but again, it's that temptation to just give up.
Yeah, it's easier to
Yeah.
just stay put.
Right.
Okay, so what does he do?
Well, he's obviously tempted, right? Like,
Yeah.
who wouldn't be? But then he's like, no.
He remembers the giraffe?
He remembers the giraffe's advice.
Good for him.
And he's like, no, I'm going to keep going just a bit further.
He's so strong.
Yeah, it's like he keeps choosing that harder path.
Yeah, he's not taking the easy way out.
Exactly.
So where does he go next?
So then he gets to this mountain.
A mountain, oh boy.
Yeah, it's super steep and rocky.
Wow. This is like the ultimate test.
It's the hardest part of his journey.
Yeah, for sure.
And he is exhausted at this point.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You know, he's been through a lot.
Yeah, he's put in the work.
And as he's climbing, he meets
Who does he meet on the mountain?
a lion.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's scary.
And this lion is not messing around.
Oh, okay.
He's like sitting up on this high ledge.
Like looking down at him?
Yeah. And he's just like, why are you even bothering?
Oh, wow.
Like, you should just stop.
He's like, just give up.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, that's harsh.
Yeah. But the Hope-o-potamus,
What does he say?
even though he's tired, he's like, you know what? I'm going to go just a bit further.
I love that he just keeps saying that.
I know, right?
It's like his motto.
It is his
It's
motto.
just a bit further.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So I think the mountain,
What do you think it represents?
it's like that feeling of being overwhelmed, right?
Yeah, like when the task just seems impossible.
Yeah. And you just feel like you can't go on.
I feel like the lion is that voice of authority.
Oh, yeah. Like when someone tells you you can't do something.
Like they think they know better.
Yeah. And they're trying to hold you back.
Wow, so we've got the camel, the sloth, and the lion.
Right.
And they all represent different things.
Yeah. And what's interesting is they're not really like villains.
Yeah, they're not like evil or anything.
No, they're just like these different forms of doubt and discouragement.
Right, they're like all the voices in our heads.
Totally. And the voices that other people sometimes, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
put on us.
So after the mountain,
So he gets to the top.
finally, what's
Wow.
at the top?
And it's not what he was expecting.
What is it?
It's this beautiful, muddy water hole.
Oh, wow.
It's like glistening in the sun.
So he found it.
He did it.
He found the water.
Yeah. And there's another hippo there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he's like waving to him.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's like so sweet.
So it's like he finds what he was looking for.
Yeah. And he finds a friend too.
That's the best.
So I think it's like that feeling of relief when you finally
Achieve your goal.
achieve your goal. Yeah.
Okay, but the story doesn't end there, does it?
No, it doesn't.
What happens next?
Guess who shows up?
Oh, I bet I know.
The camel, the sloth, and the lion.
No way.
They followed him
They followed him the whole time.
the whole time.
That's so sweet.
I know. They were like cheering for him.
Oh, they're proud of him.
Yeah. They're like, wow, you did it.
Yeah, they were wrong.
Yeah. They were wrong to doubt him.
They learned a lesson
They did.
about not giving up.
Yeah.
So it's like they were inspired by him,
Totally.
by his perseverance.
Yeah. And I think it shows that,
What do you think it shows?
like, when you see someone else's dedication,
Yeah,
it can really change your own perspective.
totally. You can learn from other people.
Yeah. You don't have to be the one, you know, going through it.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've talked about the characters. We've talked about the journey.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the messages.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, what are the big takeaways here?
What are the themes?
Right. So obviously the biggest one is hope, right?
Right. It's in the title.
Like, it's literally in the name.
So what does hope mean in this context?
So I think hope is wanting something good to happen
Okay.
and believing that it could.
Yeah. I like
Right.
saying
And that's what Hope-o-potamus, he
Yeah.
never loses that
that belief.
belief. Yeah,
It's like that little flame inside of him
it is.
that keeps him going.
Yeah. And I think hope is what helps us keep going too.
Absolutely. Yeah, when things are tough,
Yeah, because if you don't have hope,
you just Give up.
Yeah, then what's the point?
Hold up.
Right? And then another big one
What's that?
is perseverance.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah, and we've kind of seen it all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, what is perseverance?
How would you define it?
I think perseverance is not giving up,
Okay.
even when things are hard.
Yeah, even when you want to quit.
Yeah, exactly.
So Hope-o-potamus, he's like the definition of perseverance.
Totally, right? Like, he faces all these obstacles.
Yeah, like the camel telling him to go back.
Right.
The sloth telling him to sleep.
Yeah.
The lion telling him to stop.
Yeah, and each time he could have quit,
Totally.
but he didn't.
Kept going.
He kept going.
And then there's resilience.
Oh, yeah, resilience,
Which is kind of like perseverance, but
but a little different.
yeah.
How would you say it's different?
Well, I think resilience is about bouncing back
Okay,
from setbacks.
I see.
So it's not just about keeping going.
Yeah,
It's about being able to recover.
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Like when you fall down, you get back up.
Yeah, and I think Hope-o-potamus shows resilience, too,
How so?
because he doesn't let the setbacks defeat him.
Yeah, he doesn't dwell on the negative stuff.
Right, he's just like, okay,
He's on to the next challenge.
now to the next thing.
So what about encouragement?
Oh, yeah, encouragement is a big one, too.
Yeah, how does that play into the story?
Well, I think we see it first with the giraffe.
Right, the giraffe gives him that advice early on.
Yeah, and it's like that initial boost that he needs.
And it stays with him.
Totally. And then at the end,
Yeah.
when the camel and the sloth and the lion show up,
Yeah.
they're encouraging him too.
Yeah, they're cheering him on.
Right. And I think it shows that,
That will
like, our words
Yeah.
can really have an impact.
They can lift people up or they can bring people down.
Exactly. And we should always try to be encouraging.
Totally, especially when someone's struggling.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about this term hippo-persistence?
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it's so clever.
It's so catchy.
So what does it mean?
So it's basically being persistent, like the hippo.
Right, like never giving up.
Yeah, even when things are tough.
Just a bit further.
Just a bit further.
It's like a hippo-sized amount of persistence.
It is. It's perfect.
So if people are enjoying this story and they want to read more like it,
Yeah, we've got some recommendations.
okay, what are they?
So there's one called Tracheopotamus's Big Race,
Okay.
and it's by Timothy Runyon,
Okay.
and it's also about a hippo.
Another hippo.
Okay. But this one is about inclusion.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and wanting to participate,
Uh-huh.
even though you have a physical challenge.
So it's about overcoming obstacles.
Yeah, kind of like Hope-o-potamus.
Okay, cool. And what else?
And then there's the classic, The Little Engine That Could,
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
by Waddy Piper.
I think I can.
Exactly, and it's all about believing in yourself.
Right, and not giving up.
Yeah, and then there's The Most Magnificent Thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that one.
It's by Ashley Spires, and it's about the creative process.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and how it's okay for things not to be perfect,
Yeah, I like that.
and to just keep trying.
Keep creating.
Exactly.
Okay, what else?
And then there's After the Fall, How Humpty Dumpty Got Back Up Again.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, it's by Dan Santat,
Okay.
and it's about what happens after you fail.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, like how do you overcome that fear?
Right, because we all fall sometimes.
I do.
We all make mistakes.
Yeah, and it's about getting back up.
Exactly.
And then the last one is a real-life example.
Oh, cool.
It's called Stephen Curry, the children's book.
Yeah.
The Boy Who Never Gave Up,
Okay.
by Anthony Curcio.
Cool.
And it's about Stephen Curry.
The basketball player.
Yeah.
I know him. He's awesome.
And talks about all the obstacles he faced
Yeah.
on his way to becoming a basketball star.
So all of these books are about perseverance,
Yeah. And not giving up.
just like Hope-o-potamus.
Exactly.
Okay, so who are the authors of Hope-o-potamus?
So it's Greg James and Chris Smith.
Huh?
And Greg James, he's actually a really famous radio host in the UK.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he has The Breakfast Show on BBC Radio 1.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a long time.
Hmm.
He was born in 1985.
Okay.
And he's been on TV too.
Oh, wow. He's a big deal.
Yeah, he's a big deal.
Cool.
He loves cricket.
Okay.
And he's done some pretty amazing charity stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like he once did 5 triathlons in 5 cities
What?
in 5
That was
days.
5 triathlons in 5 days.
I know, it's crazy.
That's insane.
But that's Greg James for you.
Wow.
But he's also a successful children's author.
Oh, wow. So he does it all.
He does it all.
Okay, so what about Chris Smith?
So Chris Smith is also an award-winning author
Okay.
and broadcaster.
Oh,
And he's known for his work on BBC Radio 1's Newsbeat.
I see.
He grew up in Northamptonshire,
Okay.
and now he lives in North London.
Gotcha.
And he's actually collaborated with Greg James on a bunch of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, including the Kid Normal series, which is another bestseller.
Wow, they're a good team.
They're a great team.
So Hope-o-potamus is just another one of their projects.
Yeah, it came out of that Book of Hopes thing
Right.
It's really cool to see how they work together.
Yeah, they bring different things to the table.
Totally. And they make these really fun and engaging stories.
Yeah, I love that.
So to wrap up,
Okay.
what we learned from Hope-o-potamus is that
Yeah.
hope and perseverance are so important.
Yeah, for dealing with life's challenges.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, remember how the hippo,
Yeah.
he was so sad and thirsty?
Yeah.
But he never gave up.
He just kept going.
Even when it was hard.
Yeah.
He just kept taking those small steps.
Just a bit further.
And he believed that things would get better.
And he was right.
He was.
So what do you think our listeners can learn from this story?
Well, I think it shows that even when things seem impossible,
Yeah.
you can still make progress if you just keep going.
Just a bit further.
Exactly.
And never give up hope.
Never give up hope.
So I want you to think about a time
Mm.
when you were ready to give up on something.
Whoa.
What was it?
And how did you feel?
Right. Like, what were those emotions?
And what would it have looked like to
Yeah.
have some hippo persistence in that moment?
Exactly. And do you think
Mm.
if you had kept going,
Yeah.
you might have found something amazing?
Like a muddy water hole.
Like a muddy water hole. Yeah. Or even just,
Some new friends?
some new friends.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too.
Just a bit further.
Just a bit further.
That's the key.
That's the key.